If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you were perfectly fine when Fever fans were bending over, kissing your ass, applauding your decisions, you better stand here and take it when Fever fans are pissed off, upset, and are voicing their displeasures. If our voice mattered that much then, you best believe it matters that much.
President of the Indiana Fever just dropped comments about Caitlin Clark that have sent shockwaves through the basketball universe. And let's be real, when you attempt to minimize the force behind your franchise's heartbeat, everything unravels. The backlash? Instant, merciless, almost poetic in its timing. Karma has a way of spotlighting the true leader, and it's rarely subtle. The fallout from this misstep is nothing short of outrageous. Seriously, what do you think happens when a company dares to sideline the very star that made them relevant?
It is going to get as big and go as far as Caitlin Clark takes it. And I don't think Kelly Krauskopf understands that. And the latest video that is surfacing, floating around, being consumed by Fever fans across the globe, because this is an international superstar they have on their hands. This may have been the straw that broke
the Indiana Fever locker room and offices. Whispers were spreading like wildfire. Staff and players alike could sense something was about to explode. Someone clearly thought they could pull this off. And then, of course, a recording surfaced, a supposedly strategic discussion about the team's future brand. Brilliant idea, if your goal was to humiliate the very player who single-handedly rescued your franchise from irrelevance. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Meanwhile, the Fever leadership, and yes, I use that term loosely, painted a picture of long-term vision, of a brand that would endure. They even compared themselves to Apple. Caitlin Clark, in their narrative, was just a tool to show fans and sponsors they weren't over-reliant on one star. Balance over brilliance, they seemed to say. But in reality, it sounded less like strategy and more like corporate jargon masking a monumental misjudgment.
That we want to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean,
Let's be clear, these remarks were catastrophic. The executive, in a single tone-deaf moment, basically dared fans to explode online, claiming they wanted the franchise to thrive, while simultaneously suggesting that Caitlin Clark, the very heartbeat of that growth, wasn't the top priority. All of this while fumbling around corporate slogans like some bizarre fast food analogy, trying to hide the Big Mac of their own success. The reaction was instantaneous. Social media ignited. Fans weren't just upset, they were furious, tearing into the organization for being so utterly out of touch. And honestly, they had it coming. Every ounce of that backlash was deserved. The company had pushed the boundaries of hubris, and the world was watching.
This isn't the NFL. This is the WNBA. A star is going to take the Fever where the Fever want to go. And that star is Caitlin Clark. Kelly, you're talking about being a leading brand. You're talking about sustaining growth, sustaining the interest level in the franchise. You know how that happens? Is if Caitlin Clark stays in Indiana, is if Caitlin Clark is participating in an entertaining and exciting brand of basketball that doesn't take away and diminish her skill sets, that doesn't turn off fans that have been following her for the last...
Some of these so-called strategic minds seem to have completely forgotten reality. Picture this. Before Caitlin Clark arrived, maybe 4,000 people tuned in on a good night. The arenas were half empty, TV ratings were dismal, and the Fever barely registered on anyone's radar. Then she steps onto the court, and suddenly, tickets vanish, records crumble, and the national conversation is dominated by one name. Yet somehow, in their infinite hubris, they chalk it up to brilliant organizational planning. The truth? That kind of magic can't be engineered. It's inherited, it's rare, and it lives inside players like Caitlin Clark. Fans didn't come for structure. They came for basketball. The Apple comparison becomes almost laughable in this light. Apple didn't succeed by downplaying the iPhone or ignoring the iPad. They built their empire around their innovations, celebrating them, elevating them, owning them. That's exactly what the Fever should have done with Caitlin. Every legendary franchise in history has been shaped around its stars. You don't minimize Michael Jordan, you build a dynasty around him. Magic Johnson? Showtime wasn't accidental. Bulls became global icons because someone recognized genius and amplified it. But the Fever? They seem to have missed the memo entirely. Instead, they obsess over balance, wealth distribution, optics, hurt feelings. Trophies apparently take a backseat. And the timing couldn't have been worse. This came just as we've seen Caitlyn struggle within a system that limits her brilliance, passing errors, prearranged plays that stifle her impact. So what do? Undermine their superstar in front of the entire world. Fans, already frustrated, watched in disbelief as leadership confirmed their deepest fears. The backlash was immediate, fierce, relentless. Questions about the organization's competence exploded online, and whispers started. If Caitlyn had the chance, she might thrive somewhere else. This is exactly what you never want when trying to build a lasting brand. And make no mistake, she won't stay forever. She is too competitive, too talented, too driven to waste her prime in a corporation that can't see her worth. Imagine if she played in New York or Boston under this same mismanagement. Sports radio would be merciless. The pressure would be unbearable. Yet the Fever seems to believe their Indianapolis bubble shields them. The cruel irony? In trying to avoid dependence on Caitlin Clark, they've only made it more likely she walks away. Underestimating what you own is the fastest way to lose it. There are countless organizations who would build empires around her, embrace her fame, amplify her influence. Meanwhile, the Fever remains calm, thinking all is well. Karma, however, had other plans. Instead of looking competent, their words ignited exactly the uproar they hoped to avoid. Tone-deaf executives, blind to the brilliance they inherited, mistakenly believe success is replicable without its source. They're about to learn the hard way that in professional sports, minimizing your star is a costly, dangerous gamble.